Even though the Chicago Bulls beat the Charlotte Hornets, man, did they make it difficult. And it came down to the closing minute in regulation. Here's why. I'm saying Coby White absolutely deserved the chance to close that game last night. And then I also want to talk about, is Javon Carter now losing minutes? Y'all know we're going to talk about it. But you got to hear the music first.
Cognac. Gang.
Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on another episode of Shy Bulls podcast. If you're tuning in with me today, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell as well. Now, look, I know the Chicago Bulls, they end up getting that victory, but it was in overtime. Hence why I didn't put on my shades last night if you was joined in with me on the live call. And I know, every basketball game is different, but I believe that the Bulls kind of reverted back to some old ways that we did not like to see, especially closing out that game. For most of the game, I feel like they did a pretty good job. They still trying to get guys reacclimated back into the lineup, but then there's still some of those things that come up, and you're like, guys, please get it together. We can be better than this. I understand we're much, much better than this team. But once you start going against more and better competition, these can result in some losses. So get it together so we can continue this nice little streak of winning games. We're now 12-7 in the last 19. We should be good to go. And I want to go ahead and just transition right on into it on why I believe that Coby White deserves his chance to close games for the Chicago Bulls. It's because moments like last night was a great opportunity to see what you have in your future. And I kind of feel like DeMar DeRozan took it away. He also took others out of the game. But I believe that Coby was a big part of that fourth quarter and all the things that could have been done before overtime. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that if you get others involved, when it's time to close these games, that's taking the next step forward as a team. So it not just only benefits Coby White if he's in this position, it also benefits the team because now you allow other guys to have that confidence that they can perform in the fourth quarter. And then on the opposing side, they don't know where you're going to go on said possession to either, tie the game or take the lead or, pull a deficit closer or something like that. And I understand we love DeMar DeRozan. We know that he can close these games, but there are some games to where the defenders that are thrown in front of him, they have size, they have good defensive capabilities, and it makes DeMar DeRozan commit turnovers, take tough shots that, without that rhythm or that space that he had earlier in the game. So I want DeMar to kind of just move on off of that a little bit. I feel like before Zach LaVine came back, and it's only been 2 games, so I'm not going to overreact to it, but I will mention it, is that he was allowing the others, to cook a little bit more. He had his moments during the game, but when it came down to the fourth quarter, he had that facilitator's mindset to the point to where he allowed the others to continue to play how the Bulls really, really should play and wanted to play. And Coby White, he deserved all of that from DeMar DeRozan, as I just said. That facilitator right there, when DeMar DeRozan faced multiple double teams and you seen Coby White had it going, I believe that was a great opportunity for Coby White, especially for the way that how he was cooking last night, to get an opportunity to say, hey, let me grow as a young player. The Chicago Bulls, this is your future. Y'all should be preaching this. Literally, I don't know. I'm not going to say they're not preaching it, but I believe they should be preaching it. Coby White last night on the night gave the Chicago Bulls 27 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. And he had a solid showing in the fourth, going 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. From the field, and 1 or 2 from the 3-point line, had 2 assists as well. And the greatest thing about the whole thing is that Coby White took care of the basketball the entire game, only had 1 turnover on the game. And down the stretch, Coby White made good decisions. When they rushed him off the 3-point line, he attacked the basket. If they backed up off of him, he was able to knock down the 3, or at least attempt the 3. And then in situations, he was able to have that pick and roll going all night with Andre Drummond and a little bit, with Nikola Vucevic. That could have been another option for him. You could have let him see and step up in that moment and see if he was made for this. We know DeMar DeRozan is made for the fourth quarter. We know this. But the thing is that we don't know if DeMar DeRozan is going to be here for the foreseeable future. Coby White is your future. Coby White is your future. And I also believe that DeMar DeRozan, if he locks in, and let's be clear, y'all, we're not saying that we hate DeMar DeRozan. I'm not saying that, at least. I'm just saying this was an opportunity for him to be a good mentor and a good leader to allow Coby White to do his thing. But I do got to point some things out when it comes to situations like this, because DeMar DeRozan and his behavior at certain points in the game, like last night, you see that affects his teammates, because on that last play that his last shot that he threw up, it didn't do much. But you had Nikola Vucevic at the top of the key open, and you had Zach LaVine near the corner open. You know what I'm saying? So if you get into that action, they bring that double team, you start swinging it, you can eventually get the better shot, in my opinion, and you don't even have to look at overtime. And I think that entire thing is why we don't really know the true capabilities of Zach LaVine in the fourth quarter. And when Zach LaVine was given those opportunities with DeMar DeRozan on his team, he failed at them. At least a few chances that we got to see in those moments. We seen Zach LaVine, earlier on with the Chicago Bulls against the Charlotte Hornets, be able to close a game. But it's not too many games that we can refer back to where we could say Zach LaVine has had the opportunity to close the game. I understand there will be conversations that's brought up regarding IQ or ball handling ability, turnovers, et cetera, et cetera. But if you don't receive the reps, how do we know if this guy can really elevate himself in those moments? That's why I'm bringing it all to the forefront for Coby White. He's the future. Again, he's the future. So you have to give this young fella opportunities. He, right now, out of him, Ayo Dosunmu, and Patrick Williams, he's the furthest ahead, and he should be, because of how long he's been in this NBA and how much he handles the ball, et cetera, et cetera. So he should be the driving force to see if he could be that point guard of the future for you. Because if you're still banking on Lonzo Ball or anybody else to come in here, it's going to be challenges with all that, when you can really just look at what you have, appreciate the things that you do have. And that's Coby White, a young player that's getting better, that still has ways to go. Don't get me wrong, still has ways to go, especially when it comes to efficiency and consistency. We know in most games, he can get that. He can have that efficiency, but we need to see a consistent scoring, number from Coby White. And it's been much improved this season. I just want to make sure that we are evaluating the entire season, before we just start handing things off to people. So he absolutely deserved that. Can't be too mad at the win. It is what it is, y'all. But we need to be preparing for better basketball. And we got to stop holding ourselves to a standard that's only okay. We expect more. And I think if we start to have our expectations of this team addressed in a different manner, we can possibly see better results, even though it will be difficult, because we know who we're dealing with as an owner and a front office as of right now. So we'll keep talking about it, though. But Coby White absolutely deserved his chance to close that game for the Bulls last night. Let me know how you feeling about that down below. I hope I made it clear. But hey, before we get up out of here, I want to touch on the last subject of the day. That's pretty much going over Javon Carter losing minutes last night. Javon Carter only played about 4 minutes last night, everybody. It's something that I feel like should have been happening, or it was preparing to come down, because Javon Carter in certain situations have been unplayable. you couldn't play him because the guy that was supposed to come in and provide 3 and D, specialty to the team, it ain't been there, especially the 3. It's always, a pump fake sidestep jumper, or he's taking away his open jumper to try to make a shot that's more contested. So it was a bit iffy for me. And he got 4 minutes last night. And this is prior to last night's game. Those last 5 games, he averaged at least 15. He averaged 15 minutes per game. And last night, he's dropped down to 4 minutes. Is he losing minutes? We shall see. Because I do know that Dalen Terry has been finding himself. I am proud, but I can't get too excited. I've been down this road before. I can't get too excited. I've been down this road before. Tell yourself this, ladies and gentlemen. We've been down this road. We done seen it before. So we got to say, yes, it's intriguing. But we can't get super excited because we need to see if Dalen Terry can establish some consistency. That's what you want to see. He's going to have hiccups. Don't get me wrong. But it has to be parts of his game that we could say to, hey, this is consistent. This is consistent. And so far, we say the defense is consistent. Him, I would say, he's on his ways of, passing the ball and working the pick and roll. He's on his ways. And then when it comes to that 3-point shot, oh my God, we need a Phillips screwdriver to go ahead and help this man fix it up. We need to tighten the screws on that 3-point shot. But last night, the shot looked more confident. It was more on target for Dalen Terry. So let's continue to build that. And I'm all for allowing the young guys to play. I'm all for it, especially if the veterans that are on the team are not living up to what they're supposed to be living up to. This is Chicago. We got to hold these teams and these players accountable, no matter how much we like or love them. You got to be productive on the court, or I want to see if my young guy who's fresh in the league, who got a little Similac still on his breath, but it's fading away because he's starting to brush his teeth a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I want to see my young guy receive an opportunity. If you, as the veteran, are not going to show your veteran leadership or the reason, or, help us come to a good consensus of why we brought you here. So that's the whole thing. That's it for me, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in your comments below. We're going to chop it up today. If you want to go ahead and be a part of our mailbag episodes, call into the voice line. That number is 773-242-9219. And one more thing. We are very, very close to 5K. I ask you that you hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you tuned in. If you are already a subscriber, share this with your mama's mama. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one for sure.
Cognac. Gang.